You are about to listen to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast, hosted by Craig Forrestall. Find Craig on Twitter at that_sports_guy. The That Sports Guy podcast is proudly featured by NFL Draft Diamonds, your draft coverage king. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some football talk.
Hello and welcome to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. I am Craig Forrestall. You may know me from Twitter as at that_sports_guy. But today it's not about me. It's about Bethune-Cookman tight end Taron Mallard. Taron, how you doing today, my guy?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm always excited when I get to talk a little bit of football. But I want to know about where it is where the dream started. The school website says you're from New Bern, North Carolina. What's life like in North Carolina?
Being from North Carolina, it's really the hoop state. So believe it or not, I never wanted to play football. It was always basketball for me. I grew up just admiring Michael Jordan. My high school was in the same conference as Laney High School, the high school that Michael Jordan was from. And just having all the great basketball players in the area, John Wall, Rodney Purvis, Torian Graham, just being a guy that watched ball his life and wanting to be like those guys. I'm always in the gym, AAU, basketball, traveling the world, and just playing basketball. So the dream of playing football really didn't come until high school.
All right. So now, Taron, what type of basketball player were you? What was your basketball scouting report on yourself?
Aggressive, could shoot the mid-range, had like a really good footwork on the block, and just could do all the little things like boxing out, getting charges. And since I played quarterback, I was pretty good at passing the ball too, distributing to my teammates.
And now you said the football dream started to take shape in high school. When did you know for sure that football was going to be the sport and not basketball?
One game I actually did not play a down my sophomore year. And a scout from UCF told me that if I just keep up with what I'm doing, then he would provide opportunities in football. Would provide opportunities to pay for my school. And just being an inner city guy, parents not having the money, the resources to put me in through college, I just knew that football would be my way out. And my grandma always told me, whatever you do, do it 100%. So I knew football would be my way out. It's way easier to make it D1 in football than it is basketball. And so I just chose it and ran with it.
And you have a really unique story, Taron, about how you got to Bethune-Cookman. If you could maybe just take us through that journey from high school to junior college and then finally Bethune-Cookman.
High school, I was highly recruited by Auburn and Florida, my two favorite schools at the time. And I wanted to go to Florida. Coach Greg Nord, the tight end coach, I was a late qualifier. So by the time I had got the SAT scores to qualify and make it to a D1 college, I was already signed to Tyler Junior College. So I was only supposed to be there a semester. I did not play it down. My first day of practice, I broke my foot, and that just led me to Bethune-Cookman. We had a change in coaching staff. The coaching staff tried to make me a tackle. I wasn't feeling it, so I asked to transfer. And Bethune-Cookman was one of the few teams to give me an offer.
Now, were you familiar with Bethune-Cookman from your high school days? Did they recruit you back in high school, or how did that just come about?
Me reaching out on Twitter, I was not familiar with Bethune-Cookman in college. In high school, I already knew that I wanted to play for Florida or Auburn, and it just happened. Me reaching out to all the coaches on Twitter and trying to sell myself, make myself available to their programs. And Coach Larkins, the special teams coach, he replied. and that's how that happened with Bethune.
And since you've arrived on campus in Daytona Beach, you have grown immensely as a tight end. What do you think has been the biggest factor or the biggest factors in your growth on the field?
My coaches and my teammates and my mentors, the two guys that was there my freshman year were both seniors, and they just taught me everything off of the field. That education was important, and I don't know, I would say what I took from them was them missing the game once it was over for them. Them still wanting to suit up on Saturdays, them still wishing that they had the opportunity I have, and just knowing that will one day be me. I'm trying to give it all I have so my career doesn't end at this level.
And Taron, speaking of the next level, I've seen 3 names mentioned with yours, and these are 3 guys that are all doing something in the NFL to varying degrees. One name that I've seen associated with you is Travis Kelce, because like Travis Kelce, you're a high school quarterback turned tight end with a basketball background. Then I've seen Eric Ebron because of the unique combination of size and athleticism. And then I've seen Donald Parham, who was a small school tight end from Stetson, who went under the radar, was overlooked, and is now getting his chance with the Chargers. Aside from hearing the comparisons and different things like that, who are the guys that you study, Taron? Who are the guys in the NFL that you try to model your game after?
To be honest, it's those exact ones. Eric Ebron, a guy that's not that fast, but seems to find his way open. I'm definitely not that fast, but I try my best to just find my way open in between in zones and creating rubs on man coverage. Things just get me the ball. Travis Kelce, I mean, how could you not want to play like him? He's the best tight end in the league, so he's definitely somebody I watch. And Donald Parham was a guy that went to college maybe 30 minutes away from me. Stetson and Daytona Beach is Stetson and Bethune-Cookman is not too far apart. Just seeing the exposure he got, being at his senior games and his combine, his numbers, and he led the SES in touchdowns for tight ends with 13 his senior year. He put up crazy numbers. So those 3 guys are people that I really look up to, and to be in the conversation with them is just amazing and something I don't take for granted.
Now, I want to ask you about the MEAC and their decision to move forward with a spring season. Just where are you and the Wildcats program when it comes to practices and workouts as far as getting ready for the next time you take the field?
Honestly, as a program, we're just getting started. We've taken a lot of precautions because of how small the school is and just not having the big weight room to have us all separated, and trying to fit all the sports into our one weight room and not having all the players in there at one time. So we're just getting started, but I feel like we've all been prepared and we're all ready to get the show on the road in the spring. Just football. It's still football. Nothing's changed. All my guys have been working out over the summer break on quarantine and all that stuff. So we're ready, man. I'm just excited to get back.
And now I want to ask you something on a personal note with what you hope to put out on film for NFL teams. So what are your personal goals, your individual goals for the spring season, Taron?
I would like to say that I'm really trying to fit the role that my team needs me to fit. My personal goals would be things I worked on in this off season, which is route running. I definitely have to put that on film, and just knowing where to sit at in the zone, fitting in the holes in zones, and just beating man coverage. That's one thing. And also being aggressive. I'm coming from a small school. They know that I can catch and run routes or whatever, but they want to see that aggressive tight end, the one that's going to block, the one that's going to put his hands in the dirt. And I'll be ready to put that on film in the spring.
As far as the team goes, you bring back a couple of key members from a 7-4 team last season. What is the team hoping to show when they take the field next? What are the team goals?
Not looking ahead, and I think that starts off with the first game of the season. We had a bye week going into last season after our homecoming game. We had a bye week after that. But I think we looked so far ahead to going into the bye week undefeated that we fell short to a great team in South Carolina State. Then we fell short to Delaware State, one of the worst teams in the conference. And then we went and lost 3 games in a row because we went to North Carolina A&T and lost again. And then somehow we rallied back and beat Florida A&M, the best team in the conference by record. So we just have to focus on the game that's ahead of us and not get too riled up about what we have going on, but just making the next game the most important game.
And Taron, I want to ask you something because you're a phenomenal leader on and off the field for the Bethune-Cookman program. You've already completed your undergraduate degree. Just when it comes to leadership, how would you describe your leadership style, and what does leadership mean to you?
When it comes to leadership, I think you have to first be a great follower, and that's something that I believe all my coaches can vouch for me and say. Coming in as a freshman, I'm sure nobody thought I would be where I am, not even saying that I still don't think I'm that good. I have not reached my full potential. But, I mean, like I sat back and watched the guys that led us as seniors my freshman year and just learning from them, taking from them what I did want to do with the team my senior year and what I didn't want to do. So I learned a lot from them, what to do and what not to do. Leadership to me is very important. To be able to have guys that want to follow you says a lot about you. And all my teammates will say that I'm a great leader and it's never a problem. I've never had an altercation on the field, off the field. It's just a great thing to me to be able to have guys that believe in me, that trust in me, and just love to be around me. So leadership is everything. I love being a leader. We have this thing in the weight room where we're broken up into 8 different teams, and 8 teams have their own rack, and we go throughout the week gaining points for community service, good grades, going up in weight. And for the last 2 years, my team has won. And I think that speaks volumes. And just my position on the team, being a captain for the last 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely. And Taron, I want to go back to something you touched on a couple questions ago when you said that you and the team rallied to come up and beat Florida A&M after a rough stretch. If you could tell our listeners about the importance of that game between Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, which is referred to as the Florida Classic.
Yes. That game is something that our fans will talk about before the season even started. It's something that the fans get outfits for and start getting hotels and everything before the season even starts. And to play that game is everything. I would like to believe that some of the fans don't care if we win any game throughout the season as long as we beat FAMU and not end the 9-0 streak, that they will be perfectly satisfied. And to be able to play them twice this year, one in Daytona and the second one in Tallahassee, will be crazy. I mean, I can't wait. And it'll be so fun. But we have to handle our business with A&T and handle everybody else on the schedule as well. But that game is something special. It's nothing like it, I don't think. Normally we play it in Orlando in the Citrus Bowl, and it's hard to pack that place out, but we come close every year.
Absolutely. I've actually attended a couple of Florida Classics myself, and it is an environment unlike any other. It's one of my favorite college football games of the entire season. And Taron, you've done a great job, been great sport with the football-based questions. But now I want to go away from the game. I want to ask you some stuff to get to know you, the non-football player. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First one. Would you rather have a beachfront mansion or a whole bunch of land to live on?
A whole bunch of land.
What is? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, having a whole bunch of land and being able to build on it, sell it, or just like have something for family to have and make profit off of would be great.
What is that one candy or one junk food snack that you can't live without?
Reese's.
Now, is it just the old school Reese's, the peanut butter cups, or is it the Reese's Pieces?
The Reese's peanut butter cups, the old school Reese's. The white chocolate's not too bad either.
So you're all over them, Matt. You don't care just as long as it's a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
If you could only keep 3 apps on your phone, which 3 apps are you keeping?
The Bible, Instagram, and Twitter.
What's the best advice you ever received?
Or whatever you do, give it 100%. Like I stated earlier, that's what my grandma always told me. And it's something that I stayed true to, and it's worked out in my life. She told me that no matter what you do in life, you give it 100%. I don't care if you're a garbage man, you be the best garbage man there is. And it's something that always stuck with me.
And then the final question for you, Taron. Do you love or hate video games?
I love video games.
Now, are you a PS4 guy? Are you an Xbox guy? What are you playing on?
PlayStation 4.
All right. What's your favorite game?
Madden.
Who you running with?
Lately it's been the Pittsburgh Steelers because of their defense and Eric Ebron.
Oh, all right. I see what you're doing there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Taron Mallard, tight end from Bethune-Cookman University. He is on NFL radars. He has grown tremendously since he's arrived on campus. Pay attention to him as the upcoming season this spring is going to be action-packed. He said they get FAMU twice, so don't forget Taron Mallard, Bethune-Cookman University. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Taron Mallard. I'm Craig Forrestall. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.
Hey everybody, Craig Forrestall. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at @that_sports_guy to catch all the latest updates and podcast episodes. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.